You ever do that thing where you're just staring at a simple task? You know exactly what you need to do, but your brain just refuses to hit go. Well, if that's you, you're not alone. And it's not just procrastination. We're going to dive into the neurology of the ADHD brain and figure out why sometimes just getting started feels like the hardest thing in the world. Wow, this quote, it just nails it, doesn't it? And the thing is, it's not like your mind is empty. Oh no, it's the total opposite, right? It's buzzing with alarms, to-do lists, that song you heard yesterday, and maybe a few sudden deep questions about the universe, all screaming for your attention at once. Yeah, if you're nodding your head right now, just know you are in very good company. And here's the most important part. That feeling, that internal chaos, it's not a flaw. It's not you failing. It's a common experience. And just understanding what it is, that's the first huge step. All right, so let's talk about that 50 open browser tabs feeling. This is the core of it all, right? That sense of being totally overwhelmed. We're going to pull apart what that's all about. You know, there's actually a name for this whole problem. It's a challenge with something called task initiation. It's one of the brain's main jobs, what we call executive functions. Think of it like the ignition in your car. Your engine could be amazing, totally powerful, ready to go, but if you can't turn the key, you're just sitting there. You're not going anywhere. Okay, so the browser tabs metaphor is good, but to really get what's going on under the hood, we need something a little better. So let's try a different analogy, one that gets closer to what's happening neurologically. I want you to imagine something called the blinking button problem. So what is the blinking button problem? Well, it's this state where your brain treats every single task like it's a top-level emergency. Imagine you're in a control room and every light is flashing bright red. The check email light is blinking just as furiously as the house is on fire light. I mean, how are you supposed to decide what to do first? And this slide just shows it perfectly. On the left, you've got a nice, calm, ordered list. 1, 2, 3, simple. On the right, that's the ADHD brain. It is pure chaos. Everything is an emergency, screaming at you, now, 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 including, for some reason, that really embarrassing thing you did back in 2007. Of course the system's going to overload. Okay, so why? Why does the brain do this? Well, those blinking buttons, they aren't just a metaphor. They're a very real reflection of what's going on with your brain's wiring. And believe it or not, it all boils down to this tiny little gap in a chemical signal. Let's zoom in on the part of your brain that's supposed to be in charge of all this, the prefrontal cortex. This is your brain's CEO, okay? It's the air traffic controller. It's the one that's meant to look at all the chaos and say, okay, you go first, you wait, you circle around. It's supposed to be the calm in the storm. So here's the deal. For that CEO, your prefrontal cortex, to actually give an order to say, go, it has to send a message. And that message is carried by a chemical messenger you've probably heard of, dopamine. Now, in the ADHD brain, that dopamine signal can be, well, a little unreliable. It's kind of like a bad cell connection. The call's made, but the signal just doesn't always go through clearly. Let's just walk through exactly what happens step by step. Okay, first, your brain knows what it needs to do. Write the email. Got it. Next, the prefrontal cortex tries to send the start command. It's like hitting send. But then this signal drops. That dopamine messenger just doesn't make it all the way, which leads to the final step, action stalls. The command gets lost, and you're just sitting there, not writing the email. And when this signal failure happens over and over again, it leads to a really frustrating consequence, a state that, if you have ADHD, you probably know all too well. We call it the overwhelm freeze. You know what I'm talking about, right? You have a huge deadline, something super important, and what are you doing? You're endlessly scrolling on your phone. From the outside, it looks like laziness, but it's not. It's a classic symptom of the freeze. Your brain can't execute the big command, so it just defaults to something easy that gives it a quick little dopamine hit. It's a coping mechanism for the paralysis. And let me be super clear about this. This freeze isn't you being dramatic. It's a real neurological state. It's like when your computer gets the spinning wheel of death because it can't process a command. You're not choosing to be stuck. Your brain's operating system has quite literally stalled. But here's where it gets even trickier. This whole brain wiring thing, it doesn't just stay in the brain. Nope, it spills over and creates this really powerful and painful emotional cycle. It's like putting a giant brake pedal on top of an already stalled engine. And this is that vicious spiral. It starts with the freeze. You can't get going. That leads to inaction. Time just ticks by. Then comes the guilt. Ugh, I should be doing this.
And that guilt, it quickly hardens into shame. What is wrong with me? Why can't I just do the thing? And all of that shame and guilt just piles on more overwhelm, which makes the original freeze even worse. It's a terrible loop.
Okay, listen, if you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. Struggling to get started is not a moral failing. It is not a character flaw. It has nothing to do with you being lazy or weak. It is, plain and simple, a matter of brain wiring. It's about chemistry. And just knowing that, just understanding the science behind the struggle, that is so incredibly powerful. It allows you to stop blaming yourself and start having a little self-compassion. And honestly, that shift is often the key that unlocks the whole thing. It's how you start to break that cycle. So, I want to leave you with this question. Now that you know this is a challenge of brain function, not a flaw in your character, how might that change the way you approach your to-do list tomorrow? What kindness or new strategy might you offer yourself now that you understand what's really going on inside your control panel?